The stars looked different from out here. Captain Peter Collins stood at the main viewport of the U.S. Vanguard, Earth's first faster-than-light vessel. After decades of research and testing, humans had finally broken the light barrier. Now they were about to make history again, as the first humans to visit another star system. "Captain, all systems are nominal. We're ready for the final jump," said Lieutenant Kyle Martinez from his station. Peter nodded. "Proceed, Lieutenant." The ship hummed as the FTL drive engaged. The stars blurred, stretched, and then snapped back into focus. Alpha Centauri shone brightly before them. "We made it," whispered Dr. Olivia Grant, the ship's xenobiologist. Her eyes were wide with wonder. Humanity's first journey to another star. The crew's celebration was cut short by an alarm. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Multiple objects approaching at high speed. Martins reported, his voice tense. "There, ships, alien ships." Before anyone could respond, the view screen activated on its own. A face appeared. At least, Peter thought it was a face. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern and skin that looked like polished silver. "Unknown vessel, you have entered a conflict zone. Identify yourselves immediately," the alien said in perfect English. Peter stepped forward. "This is Captain Peter Collins of the Earth vessel U.S. Vanguard. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. How are you speaking our language?" "Universal translator," the alien replied. "I am Ambassador Zixtrol of the Galactic Council. You must leave this area immediately. The Void Collective has." An explosion rocked the ship. The view screen split to show another vessel approaching. This one black and angular, like a blade cutting through space. "Void Collective attack ship," Zixtrol shouted. "Humans, you must." The communication cut off. 3 more black ships appeared, firing weapons at both the Vanguard and Zixtrol's vessel. "Evasive maneuvers," Peter ordered. "Bring weapons online." The Vanguard twisted away from the incoming fire. Earth's scientists had insisted on equipping the ship with defensive capabilities, just in case. Now Peter was grateful for their caution. "Sir, I've never seen weapons like these," Martins said as he worked the tactical console. "But their attack pattern is predictable. They're using a standard flanking approach." Peter watched as Martinez instinctively adjusted their defenses. The young lieutenant had been top of his class in tactical training, and it showed. He anticipated the enemy's moves before they made them. "They're targeting Zixtrol's ship more heavily than us," Dr. Grant noted. "I think we stumbled into someone else's war." Another blast rocked the ship. A console exploded in sparks. "Shields at 60%, reported the operations officer. Peter made a quick decision. "Martinez, target the lead enemy vessel. Fire when ready." The Vanguard's weapons, designed based on theoretical alien technology, lashed out. The energy beam struck the black ship, causing it to spin out of control. "Direct hit," Martinez exclaimed. Their shields weren't configured to handle our type of weapons. The remaining enemy ships paused their attack, seemingly reassessing the situation. They didn't expect us to fight back, Peter realized, or at least not effectively. The enemy vessels regrouped and renewed their assault, but now Martinez was ready. He guided the Vanguard through a series of complex maneuvers that kept them one step ahead of the attackers. "Captain, Zixtrol's ship is transmitting again," Dr. Grant said. The alien's face reappeared, looking shocked. "Your combat reflexes. How did your tactical officer predict their attack sequence?" "Standard training," Peter replied, confused by the question. Another blast hit them. "Shields at 40%, the operations officer warned. "We need to end this now," Peter said. "Martinez, target their propulsion systems. Let's disable rather than destroy if possible." Martinez nodded and executed the order perfectly. The Vanguard's weapons struck 2 of the enemy ships, leaving them adrift in space. The third turned and fled. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Peter turned to the screen. "Ambassador Zixtrol, We need answers. What just happened? Zixtroll's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. You've just demonstrated combat abilities that most species take centuries to develop. The Galactic Council will want to meet you. The alien paused. I believe your arrival may change the course of this war. Peter looked at his crew. Their faces a mixture of shock, pride, and concern. Humanity had wanted to reach the stars. Instead, they'd found a war, and somehow, they had already made an impression. 1 month after the surprise battle, Captain Peter Collins stood in a massive hall on the Galactic Council's main station. The curved walls rose hundreds of feet above, with thousands of beings from different species sitting in levels around the central floor. Peter tried not to stare at the diversity around him. Some aliens had multiple limbs, others floated in tanks of liquid, and some looked almost human except for strange colors or extra eyes. Beside Peter stood Admiral Susan White, Earth's military representative, and Richard Garcia, the lead human diplomat. They had arrived 2 days ago on the U.S. Defender, Earth's second FTL ship. The Council will see you now, said a small green alien with large eyes. The 3 humans walked to the center of the floor. Above them, a circle of 12 different aliens sat at a high table. Ambassador Zixtroll was among them. Representatives of Earth, Zixtroll's voice echoed through the hall. The Galactic Council welcomes you. A large being with thick, leathery skin and 4 arms leaned forward. I am Counselor Velox. Let us speak plainly. Your species has shown remarkable combat abilities. The recordings from your encounter with the Void Collective have been studied extensively. Richard Garcia stepped forward. We appreciate your welcome, but we came seeking peaceful contact, not war. War found you anyway, said another counselor, this one looking like a tall insect, as it found all of us. A muscular alien in military uniform approached the humans. I am General Krath, commander of Council Defense Forces. Your tactical officer's performance was unprecedented. He anticipated attacks in ways that should not be possible for a species new to space. Admiral White responded, Lieutenant Martinez is skilled, but not unusual among our military personnel. A murmur spread through the gathered aliens. This is what interests us, Zixtroll said. In our galaxy, sentient species evolve in 2 main patterns. Most evolve from prey animals, developing intelligence to avoid predators. Others evolve as specialized hunters, becoming smart to catch specific prey. But humans, continued General Krath, you evolved differently. You were persistence hunters. You chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. This gave you endurance, pattern recognition, and tactical thinking that works at both instinctive and planned levels. Peter looked at his fellow humans, seeing the surprise on their faces. We've been fighting the Void Collective for 300 years, said Velox. They are expanding aggressively, taking resources, and killing those who resist. We have been losing ground. What does this have to do with Earth? Garcia asked. Krath's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Humans have abilities we need. Your combat instincts, your adaptability, your stamina, and your understanding of both predator and prey thinking. Zixtroll raised a hand. We are not asking you to fight our war for us. We are inviting Earth to join the Galactic Council as a full member, with all benefits and protections. And responsibilities, added Velox. Admiral White stepped forward. What exactly are you proposing? An alliance, said Krath. Exchange of technology, cultural understanding, and yes, military cooperation. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing Earth. Your world sits in a strategic location, Krath explained. If the Void Collective discovers it, they will attack. They will see your potential as we do. The difference is, we want to work with you. They will try to destroy you. Peter noticed how the other species watched them, some with hope, others with fear. We do not make this invitation lightly, said Zixtroll. No species has been admitted to the Council so quickly after discovery. But these are desperate times. And you think we can help turn the tide of this war? Garcia asked. We've analyzed the battle data, said Krath. Your ship, with limited technology and no space combat experience, disabled 2 void vessels and forced another to retreat. Do you know how rare that is? Most new species lose their first encounters completely. Susan White looked thoughtful. We'll need to discuss this with our government. Of course, said Zixtral. But know this, the Void Collective is already aware of your existence. Time is short. As they left the council chamber, Peter turned to Admiral White. What do you think? She looked at him with serious eyes. I think humanity just became very important to the galaxy. And that scares me more than anything else. 6 months passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. On the massive space station Nexus 7, Sergeant Diana Powell watched her mixed squad run through combat drills. 4 humans trained alongside 6 aliens from different council species. Move faster, Thrix. Diana shouted at the tall, blue-skinned alien. The enemy won't wait for you to think about your next step. Commander Thrix, a respected warrior from a species called the Lorkai, glared at her with all 3 of his eyes. My people plan each move carefully. It has served us for 10,000 years. And now you're losing a war, Diana replied. Sometimes you need to react, not plan. Before Thrix could respond, alarms blared throughout the training facility. This is not a drill, announced a voice over the speakers. Security breach in Section 12. All personnel to battle stations. Diana's squad looked at her. Even Thrix waited for her command. Gear up, she ordered. Full combat load. Private First Class Alan Chen, the youngest human in her squad, grabbed his weapon. Sergeant, Section 12 is on the other side of the station. What's happening? We'll find out, she said, checking her own equipment. Stay sharp and follow my lead. The squad moved quickly through the station's corridors. Other teams were heading in the same direction. Diana spotted Dr. Eric Johnson, the human psychologist studying combat effects on different species, pressed against a wall as soldiers rushed past. Dr. Johnson, get to a secure area, Diana called out. Be careful, he responded. Reports say it's void infiltrators. Diana's squad reached Section 12 to find chaos. Bodies of station security personnel lay scattered. Strange black devices were attached to walls. Explosives, Alan said, examining one without touching it. They're planning to breach the hull. A shot rang out, hitting the wall near Diana's head. The squad took cover behind support columns. 3 hostiles. North Corridor, reported one of the alien squad members, a small reptilian with enhanced vision. Diana assessed the situation quickly. Thrix, take Greel and Ziv around through the maintenance shaft. Alan and Lorek, with me as distraction. The rest provide covering fire. Thrix hesitated for just a moment, then nodded. A sound strategy. As the squad split up, Diana led her small team forward, drawing enemy fire. The Void soldiers, tall, skeletal beings with 4 arms each holding a weapon, focused on them. Now, Diana shouted. The covering team opened fire, keeping the enemies pinned down. Meanwhile, Thrix's group emerged behind the Void soldiers. The surprise was complete. Within moments, all 3 infiltrators were subdued. But the victory was short-lived. The explosives are counting down, Alan shouted, examining one of the devices. 2 minutes. Diana thought quickly. Alan, can you disarm them? He shook his head. Not these models. But he studied the device closer. I might be able to change the frequency. Make them think they've already detonated. Do it, Diana ordered. Alan worked frantically, using tools from his kit. The other squad members secured the Void prisoners, the first ever captured alive. 30 seconds, Alan muttered, sweat beading on his forehead. Diana watched him work. Most species would have evacuated, accepting the loss of this section. But humans didn't give up so easily. Got it, Alan finally said, as the timer froze. They're in a loop, thinking they've sent the detonation signal. When station security finally arrived, they found Diana's squad standing guard over 3 live Void prisoners and deactivated explosives. General Krath arrived personally to assess the situation. He looked at the captured infiltrators with amazement. "In 300 years, we've never taken Void soldiers alive," he said. "They always trigger self-destruction implants." Diana nodded at Alan. Private Chen disrupted their neural signals. They couldn't activate their implants. Krath turned to Commander Thrix. "Your assessment of the human-led squad." Thrix stood straight. "The humans react to changing situations with impressive speed. They improvise in ways my people would never consider." He looked at Diana. "I questioned Sergeant Powell's methods during training. I was wrong." Later, in the briefing room, Dr. Johnson recorded the debriefing. "How did you know what to do?" he asked Alan. The young soldier shrugged. "I didn't. I just tried something that might work." Dr. Johnson made notes in his file. "Human adaptability continues to surpass all other council species. Their willingness to attempt untested solutions under pressure may be their greatest strength." Alarms blared throughout Outpost Sigma 9. Red emergency lights flashed in every corridor. The massive space station shook as another Void Collective warship fired upon it. "Status report." Major Nickel Harris shouted over the noise. "Main shields failing," answered the alien technician at the console. 87% of our defense fleet is destroyed or disabled." Nickel looked at the tactical display. 27 Void warships surrounded the outpost. The Council's defensive forces were nearly gone. "Where are our reinforcements?" she asked. Lieutenant Vincent Taylor, her tactical officer, checked his console. "Still 8 hours away, Major." Nickel made a decision. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel to the emergency shelters on the planet below. We'll hold the station." The alien commander, a tall being with skin like stone, stared at her. "With what?" "We have only 50 soldiers remaining. 42 of them are human," Nickel replied. "That will be enough." As the evacuation began, Nickel gathered her human forces in the command center. "The situation is simple," she told them. "This outpost controls access to 3 major council worlds. If it falls, millions die before reinforcements can arrive." She pointed to the tactical display. "We can't win conventionally, so we're going to cheat." Lieutenant Taylor stepped forward. "I've analyzed the Void attack patterns. They're methodical, always following the same approach. We can use that against them." "How?" asked Corporal Jason Miller. Taylor brought up a schematic of the station. "We fake a catastrophic power failure in sections B through F. They'll think those areas are vulnerable and send boarding parties there first." Nicole nodded. "We'll divide into small teams. Hit-and-run tactics only. No direct engagements unless absolutely necessary." "What about communications?" asked another soldier. "They'll monitor our channels." Nicole smiled. "That's why we're switching to old-school methods." She held up small paper cards with simple codes written on them. Sometimes the oldest tricks work best. The humans prepared quickly. They gathered improvised weapons and tools along with their standard gear. Some covered their armor with black paint to blend with the station's shadows. The first Void boarding ships attached to the station 20 minutes later. They cut through the hull exactly where Taylor had predicted. Nickel watched from a hidden observation post as the first Void soldiers entered the darkened corridor of Section C. They moved in perfect formation, scanning methodically with their weapons. "Team 2, execute," she whispered into a short-range communicator. In an adjacent corridor, Miller and his team activated the trap they had set. A modified power conduit exploded, flooding the area with electrified gas. The Void soldiers' electronic systems failed instantly. Before they could recover, humans attacked from multiple directions. They moved quickly, striking then disappearing into maintenance tunnels and air ducts. The Void soldiers, used to fighting in organized formations, couldn't adapt to the chaotic assault. Similar scenarios play out across the station. Human teams used the station itself as a weapon. They vented atmospheres, altered gravity, and triggered fire suppression systems to disorient the Void forces. In the command center, Vincent Taylor monitored the battle. "It's working," he reported. "They're confused, trying to locate a central defense that doesn't exist." 4 hours into the battle, Miller was injured by enemy fire. A shot tore through his left arm. But instead of retreating to the medical bay, he bandaged himself and continued fighting. "You should get that treated," another soldier told him. Miller shook his head. "No time. I can still shoot with my right." By the 6th hour, the tide had turned. The Void forces, unable to secure any significant section of the station, began to retreat. "They're pulling back," Taylor reported. "All boarding parties are returning to their ships." Nicole couldn't believe it. "We did it. They're actually retreating." The station's alien second-in-command stared at the tactical display in shock. 40 humans held off over 500 Void soldiers. He turned to Nicole. "This is unprecedented." Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Stories of human warriors traveled from planet to planet, growing with each telling. 6 months after the battle at Outpost Sigma 9, humans were deployed across dozens of battlefronts. In a secure research facility orbiting a gas giant, Dr. Monica Rice studied brain scans of human soldiers. The neuroscientist had been tasked with understanding what made humans such effective fighters. "Look at this," she said to Council Supreme Admiral Trell, pointing to a display showing colorful brain images. "When humans enter combat, their brains produce a unique mix of chemicals. They experience fear, but it doesn't paralyze them. Instead, it sharpens their focus." Trell, a tall being with silvery skin, leaned closer to the display. "Many species freeze when afraid. Others become aggressive but unfocused. You're saying humans do neither." "Exactly," Monica replied. "They feel fear, but they use it. And there's more." She switched to a different scan. "Humans can compartmentalize trauma. They can witness horrible things, experience pain and loss, yet continue functioning." In another part of the facility, Captain Frank Nguyen led his Special Forces team through training exercises. The 12 humans moved like shadows through the simulated battlefield, communicating with small hand signals and anticipating each other's actions. Council observers watched in amazement as the humans completed objectives that the training program rated as impossible. "How did they bypass the security system in Room 4? One observer asked. "It wasn't in the briefing." "They improvised," another replied. "Used equipment in ways it wasn't designed for." Frank gathered his team after the exercise. "Good work, but we can do better. Williams, your approach in the East Corridor was too predictable. Rodriguez, excellent use of the ventilation system." Across the galaxy, the Void Collective was growing desperate. In a hidden research base, scientist Sork studied recordings of human combat techniques. "Their adaptability is their strength," Sork explained to High Commander Drazak. "But it can also be their weakness. They rely heavily on their senses, particularly vision." Drazak, the highest-ranking military leader of the Void Collective, inspected the new weapons Sork had developed. "These will blind them." "Temporarily," Sork confirmed. "And these gas compounds will slow their reactions. They still need oxygen, after all." "Deploy them immediately," ordered Drazak. "The humans must be neutralized before more join the Council forces." Back at the Council headquarters, reports arrived of Void forces retreating from multiple sectors without engaging. Simply hearing that humans were being deployed was enough to make some Void commanders withdraw their forces. "They fear us now," said Admiral Trell during a strategy meeting. "We should press this advantage." Council Supreme Admiral Trell nodded in agreement. "The humans have become our most effective weapon. We need more of them on the front lines." Dr. Monica Rice raised a concern. "We need to be careful. Humans have remarkable resilience, but they're not indestructible. The psychological toll of constant combat will eventually affect them. The war takes priority, Trell stated firmly. The Void Collective has taken thousands of worlds. Billions have died. If human warriors can end this conflict, that is what we must focus on. In a military barracks on a frontier outpost, Frank's team received new orders. They were being sent to a particularly dangerous sector where Void forces were concentrated. "This is a suicide mission," said one of his soldiers after reading the briefing. Frank studied the mission parameters carefully. Not suicide, just very difficult. He pointed to sections of the tactical display. "We'll approach from here, using the asteroid field for cover. Their sensors won't detect us until we're inside their perimeter. And then," Frank smiled grimly, "then we do what humans do best. We adapt." On Earth, thousands more volunteers were training to join the Council forces. Videos of human victories had inspired a wave of recruitment, but not everyone was comfortable with humanity's new role in the galaxy. In her office at Council headquarters, Dr. Rice recorded her concerns. "Humans are becoming defined by their capacity for warfare. The Council sees us as weapons, not people. I fear what this will do to us as a species. What happens when the war ends? Will the galaxy still fear us? And more importantly, what will we have become?" 1 year after humans joined the Galactic War, Earth's representatives gathered in a private meeting room on the Council's central station. Secretary General Laura Wilson sat at the head of the table, her face grave as she studied the latest reports. "In 12 months, we've helped the Council retake 37 star systems," she said. "Our casualties are significant, but less than any other species would have suffered completing the same missions." Captain Bradley Scott, a decorated veteran of numerous battles, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Madam Secretary, there's something troubling I need to share." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I've begun questioning what we're fighting for. The Void Collective. They're not what the Council described to us." Laura leaned forward. "Explain." "During our last mission, we captured a Void communication center intact. We found records going back centuries." Bradley pulled out a data tablet and placed it on the table. "They tried to negotiate peace 8 times. Each time, the Council refused." A heavy silence fell over the room. "That contradicts everything we've been told," Laura said finally. "There's more," Bradley continued. "We've been told the Void Collective attacks civilian targets, but their military directives specifically forbid it. The footage the Council showed us of Void atrocities. The timestamps don't match their fleet movements." Across the station, in a public gathering area, a crowd had formed. At its center stood Allison Hughes, leader of a growing human peace movement. Humans and aliens alike listened as she spoke. "We were brought into this war under false pretenses," she told the crowd. "Humans are being used as weapons because we're effective killers. But that's not all we are." Her voice grew passionate. "We are also builders, thinkers, healers. We could be helping to end this conflict through diplomacy, not by escalating it." Meanwhile, in the Council's ancient archives, Counselor Jevna, an alien historian with wispy, translucent skin, made a disturbing discovery. She rushed to find Dr. Monica Reyes, who had been documenting human combat psychology. "Dr. Reyes," Jevna said breathlessly, "I found something you must see." She handed Monica an old data crystal. "This contains the original peace proposal from the Void Collective, from 300 years ago. It was never shown to the full Council." Monica inserted the crystal into a reader. As she studied the contents, her eyes widened. "This isn't a demand for surrender. It's a request for a resource-sharing agreement. The Void Collective evolved on worlds poor in certain elements essential to their biology," Jevna explained. "They only wanted mining rights in uninhabited systems." "Why would this be hidden?" Monica asked. "Because certain Council species had already claimed those resources," Jevna replied sadly. "War was more profitable than compromise." In the Council's main chamber, an emergency session had been called. Secretary General Laura Wilson stood before the assembled representatives of hundreds of species. "People of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice firm. Earth joined this alliance in good faith, believing we were defending innocent lives against aggression. New evidence suggests we may have been missiled. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Supreme Admiral Trell rose to object, but Laura continued. Humanity will not be used as a weapon based on lies. Effective immediately, I am ordering all human forces to cease offensive operations. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Some council members shouted accusations of betrayal. Others demanded silence to hear what Laura had to say. We came to the stars hoping to find friendship and knowledge. Laura continued once the noise subsided. Instead, we found a war built on deception. If the Council wants humans as allies, we demand truth. On the front lines, Captain Frank Nguyen received new orders directly from Earth. As he read them, relief washed over his face. He gathered his team. Our mission parameters have changed, he told them. We're no longer attacking void positions. Instead, we're establishing a neutral zone for potential peace talks. One of his soldiers looked confused. But the Void Collective are the enemy. Maybe, Frank replied, or maybe we never understood what we were fighting for. It's time we found out for ourselves. In her private quarters, Dr. Monica Rice recorded a new entry in her personal log. Humans gained a fearsome reputation as warriors because of our adaptability and persistence. Now we need to use those same qualities to pursue peace. Perhaps what will ultimately make humans feared in the galaxy is not our capacity for violence, but our unwillingness to be used, and our determination to find truth, whatever the cost. The grand meeting hall on Neutral Station Alpha fell silent as Ambassador Daniel Ross entered. The human diplomat walked slowly to the center of the room. On one side sat representatives of the Galactic Council. On the other, for the first time in 3 centuries, sat leaders of the Void Collective. 6 months had passed since humans discovered the truth about the war. 6 difficult months of establishing trust, creating safe zones, and convincing both sides to meet. Daniel looked at the assembled beings. Many council species still regarded humans with awe and fear. The Void representatives watched with caution, uncertain what to expect. Thank you all for coming, Daniel began. For 300 years, your civilizations have been locked in conflict. Today, we take the first step toward ending that conflict. High Commander Drazak of the Void Collective spoke next. Why should we trust these talks? The Council has rejected peace 8 times before. Because this time, humans are mediating, Daniel replied. And we understand both sides in ways neither of you fully recognize. Dr. Samantha Patel, a human cultural anthropologist, stepped forward with data displays. We've spent months studying both Council and Void histories, biology, and cultural values. The root of this conflict is not aggression but miscommunication. She activated a holographic display showing star charts. The Void Collective needs certain mineral resources for their biological processes. The Council saw their expansion as aggression, but it was survival. Council Elder Vylara, among the oldest living beings in the galaxy, spoke with a voice that seemed to echo with age. We perceived threat where there was none. Partially, Samantha explained, and the Void Collective failed to understand why their approaches seemed threatening. Their communication style is direct, which many Council species interpret as hostile. Void Emissary Krastur, the first Void representative to engage in genuine dialogue, leaned forward. For centuries, we believed the Council wanted our extinction. Every attempt at communication was met with weapons. Daniel nodded. Both sides interpreted the other's actions through the lens of their own evolutionary history. He turned to the Council representatives. Most of you evolved from prey species, so you see threats everywhere. Then to the Void delegates. And your people evolved in resource-scarce environments, making direct acquisition your default approach. Humans, with their unique evolutionary history as adaptable omnivores, could understand both perspectives. The negotiations continued for days. Tensions flared occasionally. Old grievances surfaced, but the human mediators kept the talks on track. Captain Frank Nguyen and his team provided security, ensuring both delegations felt safe. On the fourth day, Dr. Monica Rice presented her findings. Humans succeeded as warriors because we understand both predator and prey psychology. We know when to fight and when to cooperate. This same understanding allows us to bridge your differences. Slowly, an agreement took shape. The Void Collective would gain mining rights to uninhabited systems containing the resources they needed. The Council would receive guarantees of non-expansion into populated worlds and trade agreements for Void technology. On the final day, Daniel brought out the peace accord for signing. As leaders from both sides approached, Council Elder Vylara paused. "I was present when this war began," the ancient being said. "I never thought to see its end." She looked at the human delegation. "In our fear of the void, we created a greater threat. Humans trained for war. Yet you choose peace. Why?" Ambassador Daniel smiled. "Because true strength isn't about domination. It's about making the harder choice when it matters most." The treaty was signed amid solemn ceremony. As the delegations prepared to depart, Void Emissary Krastor approached Daniel. "Your kind are indeed fearsome warriors," the Void representative said. "But what makes humans truly dangerous is not your capacity for violence. It's your ability to understand others, to see beneath the surface to the truth." Council Elder Vylara joined them. The galaxy feared human warriors. Now they will respect human peacemakers. As Daniel looked out at the stars that night, he reflected on humanity's journey. They had come to the galaxy and been shaped into weapons, but they had refused that limited role. Instead, they had used their unique adaptability and perspective to forge a new path. Humans were still feared throughout the galaxy, but now it was for a different reason. Their uncanny ability to understand others, to adapt to any situation, and to change the course of history not through force, but through connection. In the end, that was a legacy worth building.